The crystalline walls of the Galactic Council chamber shimmered with cold light as Supreme Counselor Vexthera raised her four-armed silhouette above the assembly. Her voice resonated through the vast dome, dripping with contempt. The human homeworld will fall within 6 solar cycles. Their primitive technology, their fractured governments, they are insects before our might. The assembled representatives of 12 species nodded in agreement, their various forms unified in smug certainty. But in the observation gallery, Ambassador Elena Martinez felt her jaw clench. They spoke of Earth as if humanity was already extinct, as if 3 billion souls meant nothing. The mockery continued as Councillor Zikma projected holographic images of human cities. Look at their pathetic defenses. Their warships are barely capable of interplanetary travel. They squabble among themselves even as we prepare to cleanse their world. Laughter echoed through the chamber, harsh alien sound that made Elena's blood boil. General Thakfar, his insectoid mandibles clicking with amusement, added, "My scouts report their largest battleship carries weapons equivalent to our fighter craft. This will be less a war than an extermination." But what they didn't know was that humanity had been listening to every word, recording every tactical detail, learning from centuries of being underestimated. Across the galaxy, in the command centers of humanity's hidden defense network, Admiral Catherine Reeves watched the alien fleet movements with calculating eyes. 10,000 ships darkened the space between Mars and Earth, their hulls gleaming with advanced shielding. The aliens had been preparing for 3 years, treating this invasion like a ceremonial parade. Her fingers drummed against the tactical display as she whispered to her staff, "They expect us to cower. They expect us to break. They don't understand that when humanity's survival is on the line, we become something else entirely." In bunkers beneath every major city, quantum computers hummed with processing power that the aliens had never imagined possible, running simulations that would make their advanced AI weep. Earth's skies erupted in brilliant flashes as the alien vanguard broke through the atmosphere. Massive dreadnoughts descended like falling mountains, their shadow casting darkness over continents. In the streets below, families hugged each other tight, children pressed against windows watching death approach from the stars. News anchors struggled to maintain composure as they reported the impossibly alien armada had arrived, and Earth's governments had mere hours to respond. But in underground facilities that didn't exist on any official map, technicians were already initiating protocol defiance, a defense system born from humanity's greatest fear and most desperate innovation. The Galactic Council watched through their sensors as panic spread across human cities. Councillor Vexthera permitted herself a thin smile. Observe how quickly their resolve crumbles. Their communication networks flood with desperation. In 2 cycles, maybe less, they will broadcast their surrender. General Thakfar's mandibles clicked in agreement as he watched refugee streams flee the major population centers. Their leaders haven't even attempted to coordinate a defense. Truly, this species is more pathetic than our intelligence suggested. But deep beneath the Rockies, Admiral Reeves looked at her quantum tactical display and said quietly, "Let them think we're broken. Let them believe their own propaganda. In exactly 47 minutes, they're going to learn what humanity really is." Commander Liu stood before the last gathering of Earth's defense captains, his weathered face grim but determined. "They outnumber us 50 to 1. Their technology surpasses ours in every conventional metric. But we're not fighting conventionally." Behind him, holographic displays showed not just the positions of human ships, but something else, energy signatures that pulsed with an otherworldly rhythm. Project Prometheus went active 20 minutes ago. Every human ship, every defense platform, every weapon system is now connected through quantum entanglement to our most desperate innovation. His eyes blazed with fierce pride. They think they know what human technology looks like. They're about to discover what human desperation has accomplished. Dr. Rachel Kim's voice crackled through encrypted channels to every human command center simultaneously. The consciousness transfer is complete. Every AI system, every strategic computer, every tactical network is now running on quantum consciousness matrices derived from human neural patterns. The implications hit the military commanders like lightning. Their machines weren't just computing. They were thinking, feeling, adapting with human intuition amplified by processing power beyond imagination. The aliens fight with logic and predetermined strategies, she continued, her voice trembling with the weight of what they'd achieved. We're about to fight them with the collective unconscious of the entire human race. The first engagement erupted in Earth's upper atmosphere, as alien fighters screamed toward the orbital defense platforms. Counselor Vexthera watched the tactical displays with bored confidence. Human resistance would last perhaps 30 minutes, but then something impossible happened. Human defenders weren't just responding to alien attacks, they were predicting them, countering maneuvers that hadn't been executed yet. "What is this?" she hissed as her first wave of fighters was systematically destroyed. In the command bunker, Admiral Reeves smiled coldly as her quantum-conscious tactical systems began learning alien patterns in real time. "They fight like machines," she murmured. "We fight like human beings who refuse to die." General Thakvar stared in disbelief as his tactical readouts painted an impossible picture. Human ships were operating with precision that surpassed his own fleet's capabilities. "They're adapting faster than our computers can process," he reported to the Council, his voice edged with the first hint of concern. A human destroyer had just outmaneuvered 3 of his heavy cruisers, using gravity wells and momentum in ways that defied standard tactical doctrine. But what terrified him most was the efficiency: no wasted movement, no hesitation, as if every human ship shared a single, impossibly clever mind. The consciousness matrices weren't just coordinating human forces, they were evolving, learning, becoming something greater with every passing second. On the lunar surface, alien landing craft touched down, expecting to establish an easy foothold. Instead, they found cities that had transformed overnight into labyrinthine fortresses. Every building, every street, every tunnel had been redesigned by architectural AI that understood human psychology better than humans themselves. Alien soldiers found themselves lost in spaces that seemed to shift and change, where shadows concealed weapons, platforms that fired with lethal precision. Commander Martinez watched from the observation deck of Lunar Base as alien battalions wandered in circles, their advanced navigation systems useless against architecture designed to confuse and disorient. "Welcome to a maze built by human minds," she whispered. "Every corner is a trap, every passage leads to despair." The alien ground invasion had become a nightmare of psychological warfare. Human cities didn't just resist, they actively tormented the invaders with tactics that seemed to emerge from humanity's darkest imagination. Holographic civilians would appear, scream, and vanish, leaving alien soldiers firing at ghosts. Streets would suddenly fill with deafening human music, overwhelming sensitive alien hearing. Buildings would project images of Earth's most terrifying predator: sharks, lions, bears, creatures that existed nowhere else in the galaxy. General Thakvar's ground reports painted a picture of alien morale collapse, as his soldiers faced an enemy that fought not just with weapons, but with pure psychological terror. In the council chamber, Counselor Vexthera's confidence was cracking like ice under pressure. How are they maintaining coordination across their entire planet? Our intelligence indicated they couldn't even coordinate between their nations. But the quantum consciousness matrices were beyond anything in the aliens' experience: a fusion of human intuition, artificial processing power, and desperate innovation that created something entirely new. Every human ship, every defense platform, every soldier was connected through a network that thought and felt and adapted like a living organism. Admiral Reeves watched her tactical displays with growing amazement, as humanity's defense evolved from desperate resistance into something resembling art. The electromagnetic pulse that erupted from Earth's core caught the alien fleet completely off guard. Not a weapon, but a signaler, quantum transmission that carried human consciousness patterns directly into alien computer systems. Alien ships began glitching, their AI networks infected with human intuition that their logical architectures couldn't process. "Their machines are thinking like humans," Dr. Kim reported with breathless excitement. "Our consciousness patterns are overwriting their programming." Across space, alien dreadnoughts found their weapon systems hesitating, their navigation computers second-guessing orders, their tactical systems experiencing what could only be described as doubt. The aliens had never encountered an enemy that could make their own technology betray them. The counterattack began with surgical precision that left alien commanders speechless. Human ships that had seemed hopelessly outmatched suddenly moved with lethal efficiency, striking at weak points in alien formations that shouldn't have been visible to primitive sensors. But the quantum consciousness matrices weren't just seeing what was there, they were predicting what would be there, anticipating alien movements with an accuracy that transcended normal tactical analysis. Admiral Reeves watched as her fleet carved through alien formations like a sword through silk, each strike perfectly timed, each maneuver flowing into the next with artistic precision. "This isn't war," she breathed in wonder. "This is humanity expressing its soul through violence." The first alien dreadnought died in a cascade of brilliant explosions that painted the darkness between stars with fire. Counselor Vexthera stared at her displays in growing horror. The massive ship had simply disintegrated under focused human fire that seemed to know exactly where to strike. "Impossible," she whispered. "That ship's armor could withstand star-killer weapons, but human targeting systems weren't aiming at armor, they were aiming at the psychological weak points of alien engineering, exploiting design flaws that emerged from alien cultural biases the consciousness matrices had identified and exploited. Every shot was placed with malicious precision, turning alien strengths into catastrophic vulnerabilities. The tide turned in exactly 14 minutes and 37 seconds. General Thakfar's tactical computers painted a picture that violated everything he understood about warfare. Human forces were achieving coordination levels that surpassed his most optimistic projections for his own fleet. "They're fighting as a single organism," he reported, his voice hollow with disbelief. "Every ship, every weapon, every soldier is moving with perfect synchronization." The consciousness matrices had transcended their original programming, becoming something newer, fusion of human creativity, artificial processing power, and desperate determination that the galaxy had never seen before. Alien colonies on Earth's moon vanished in brilliant flashes of coordinated fire. Human orbital weapons, guided by quantum consciousness that could predict and counter every defensive measure, struck with timing so precise that alien shields never had a chance to adapt. Counselor Vexthera watched in growing panic as installations that had taken years to establish were reduced to expanding clouds of debris in minutes. "Order immediate retreat," she commanded, but her communications officers were already reporting the impossible human cyber warfare systems had infiltrated their quantum communication networks. The consciousness matrices weren't just defeating alien forces, they were consuming alien information systems like a virus of pure human ingenuity. The argument in the council chamber erupted into chaos as alien leaders realized their perfect prediction had become their perfect nightmare. "We retreat now, or we lose everything," Vexthera declared, but General Thakfar's mandibles clicked with desperate fury. "Retreat? We are the Galactic Council. We do not retreat from primitives." But the tactical displays told a story that pride couldn't ignore. Human forces were advancing with unstoppable momentum, their coordination growing more perfect with every passing second. The consciousness matrices were learning not just alien tactics, but alien psychology, exploiting weaknesses that went to the core of alien cultural identity. The breakthrough came when human forces demonstrated capabilities that shouldn't have been possible. Ships began moving in formations that seemed to bend space itself. Weapons fired with accuracy that suggested prescient targeting, and defensive maneuvers flowed with liquid perfection. Dr. Kim's voice echoed through human command centers. "The matrices have achieved quantum consciousness cascade. They're not just thinking, they're predicting probability streams." Human forces weren't just fighting the current battle, they were fighting every possible variation of the battle simultaneously, choosing the paths that led to victory with mathematical certainty. 15 minutes. That's how long it took for humanity to destroy the largest invasion fleet in galactic history. Counselor Vexthera stared at tactical displays showing the systematic annihilation of forces that had conquered dozens of worlds. Human ships moved through alien formations like death itself, striking with precision that seemed almost casual in its perfection. "This cannot be," she whispered, but the evidence blazed across her screens in cascades of exploding alien vessels. The consciousness matrices had reached their full potential, human intuition amplified by quantum processing power, creating tactical awareness that bordered on omniscience. As the last alien dreadnought exploded in brilliant silence, the transmission came through on every communication channel in the galaxy. Admiral Reeves's voice, calm and steady, spoke words that would echo through galactic history. "The Earth has defended itself. The invasion has been repelled. Humanity claims its place among the stars." But it was the subtext that truly terrified listening alien civilizations. Humans had achieved in minutes what should have been impossible in decades. The consciousness matrices had proven that human potential, properly unleashed, could transcend every limitation the galaxy had believed absolute. Ambassador Martinez walked back into the Galactic Council chamber, her footsteps echoing in the stunned silence. The assembled alien representatives sat in their elevated positions like broken statues, their previous arrogance replaced by something approaching terror. "You wondered how long humanity would last," she said quietly, her voice carrying across the vast space. "You predicted hours. We ended your war in minutes." The consciousness matrices had done more than win a battle. They had rewritten the fundamental assumptions about human capabilities that had governed galactic politics for millennia. Councillor Vexthera's forearms trembled as she struggled to process what had occurred. "How?" she whispered, the word barely audible. "How did you achieve such coordination, such precision, such impossibility?" Martinez smiled, but it was not a kind expression. "You studied our technology, our politics, our visible capabilities. You never studied our souls. When humanity faces extinction, we don't break, we become more than we were before." The consciousness matrices pulsed through quantum networks across human space, a living testament to what desperation and ingenuity could achieve when survival was at stake. The galaxy would never be the same. In archives across dozens of worlds, military theorists began rewriting their fundamental assumptions about warfare, technology, and the nature of consciousness itself. Humanity had demonstrated capabilities that challenged every scientific principle the galactic community thought they understood. Dr. Kim's final report would become required reading at every military academy. Human consciousness, when properly integrated with quantum processing systems, doesn't just solve problems, it transcends them. We didn't just defeat the alien invasion, we evolved beyond the need to fear it. The formal surrender ceremony took place in the same chamber where alien arrogance had sealed humanity's fate. General Thakfar, his mandibles hanging in defeat, signed documents that officially ended the shortest interstellar war in recorded history. 14 minutes and 37 seconds, he said hollowly. "That's how long it took you to destroy everything we built over centuries." But Admiral Reeves corrected him with quiet satisfaction. "No, that's how long it took humanity to prove that our greatest strength was never our technology. It was our refusal to accept defeat, our ability to become more than the sum of our parts when survival demands it." The consciousness matrices continued to evolve, spreading through human space like digital seeds of transcendent awareness. What had begun as a desperate war measure was becoming something unprecedented, a fusion of human intuition and quantum processing that promised to revolutionize not just military tactics, but the very nature of human civilization. As the defeated alien fleets limped toward the outer system, they carried with them a new reality. Humanity was no longer the primitive species they had dismissively catalogued. They were something entirely new, something that the galaxy would have to learn to respect or learn to fear. In the end, as the great chamber fell silent and the alien representatives filed out in stunned defeat, Ambassador Martinez spoke the words that would define humanity's new relationship with the galaxy. "You came to our world expecting to find primitives. Instead, you discovered that when pushed to the edge of extinction, humanity doesn't fall, it flies." The consciousness matrices hummed quietly through quantum space, carrying human awareness to every corner of the solar system. Proof that sometimes the greatest victories come not from superior weapons, but from superior souls. Would you stand with humanity in their darkest hour, or would you underestimate them like the aliens who learned too late that human potential, when properly unleashed, recognizes no limits?